Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. So today I wanted to make this quick little message around why it's so important to relax your nervous system. And if you've seen my last couple of videos, they've been around the topic of, a regulated nervous system and how that really impacts you on your awakening journey, especially when you're trying to expand your consciousness. But in this video, I kind of wanted to take a different take, and this is really around your manifestations not coming in fast enough. And typically, what happens is, when you're trying to manifest something into your life, and if it's not coming in, you think to yourself, am I not trying hard enough? Have I not maybe healed enough? Maybe I'm not manifesting correctly. But the truth is, you might be experiencing a block because the state of your nervous system is dysregulated. Because when the nervous system is dysregulated, you are actually stuck in fight, flight, or freeze mode, and therefore your body ends up prioritizing survival over your expansion. If you are stuck in survival mode, your body will end up contracting. This is when your energy is actually being pulled inward. Your trust generally in the outside world in various situations is rather narrow, and the future in some way possibly feels even threatening. And this is exactly why someone can actually have gone through a spiritual awakening, but still they can feel blocked, exhausted, or even unable to move forward from their current situation. Their awareness has expanded, but their nervous system has not yet caught up to that new state. And therefore, it's so important if you're going through that to make sure that you do have a regulated nervous system. Now, just to kind of try and explain why a dysregulated nervous system ends up blocking what you're trying to receive in terms of your manifestations, is that receiving actually requires openness. It requires, you to be comfortable with your feminine energy. It requires a sense of openness. It requires relaxation, and relaxation requires safety. But if your nervous system hasn't learned this early on enough, let's say maybe love wasn't consistent, in some part of your life, maybe support around you came with certain conditions, being seen, felt maybe threatening or led to some pain, or some experiences were held on to in a negative sense in your body, then, all of this can feel threatening rather than what it should feel like, which is more nourishment. So, regardless of how effectively you may be trying to manifest something, if you do not feel safe when something good is trying to approach you, such as love, maybe money, maybe a restful life, maybe union with somebody, maybe having the right circumstances, your body will tighten up. It will disassociate with what you're trying to bring in. You may experience delays. And even better, and this is probably the most common, is self sabotage. This is, you almost getting scared of something coming in that you've asked for, that you yourself end up creating blocks for yourself so that you can't actually receive what you're trying to manifest and bring into yourself. Now, it's important to understand that this isn't happening because you're broken, because you might think you're to yourself listening to this, why would I block something that I'm trying to manifest? That sounds silly. But the truth is, this happens because your body is trying to protect you based on old patterns and old information that it knows and has stored in your body. Now, the nervous system doesn't actually, respond to affirmations if the state of your body and your nervous system is in this dysregulated state. And what it's trying to respond to is experience, what it knows, what it's been comfortable with. And regardless of how you're manifesting, regardless of, how effective your effort towards that situation may be, if your nervous system is not in the right state, you will not be able to bring in that which you are manifesting. So, the key to understanding something here is that relaxation of your nervous system will restore the capacity for you to actually receive. when the nervous system is actually relaxed, there are several things that can happen naturally, such as you'll be able to breathe deeper, your muscles will soften, awareness will end up returning to the present moment versus lingering between the past and the future. And your heart will open up, it'll be ready to receive without effort. So you can see that it's actually key to make your nervous system feel relaxed. To get into that state of regulation, you need to be able to make it feel safe. And so, next, I want to kind of really talk about three simple practices that you can be doing to really get your nervous system prepared to get it into that state where your manifestations start to come in easily. Now, the first one is really one of the most simplest and most effective ways to calm your nervous system, and it is a practice called coherent breathing. This is when, you practice slow, rhythmic breaths that can actually bring the body back into balance. The best way to really do this is really go out into nature. If it's winter where you are right now, you can still do this. Go out for a walk, or even simply if you are in one of your rooms, just make sure that you have, a window or something open to be able to really breathe deeply. But you want to be able to really just inhale gently for 5 to 6 seconds and then exhale slowly for about another 5 to 6 seconds, and do this with, taking deeper breaths. The more air that you can get into your lungs, this will really help to really relax you. Don't force the breaths. You shouldn't be holding the breath. Just practice steady, rhythmic breathing. And this practice will end up signaling safety to your nervous system, and safety is what's going to allow you to receive. Now, a second practice that you can really, rely on is having saltwater baths. A couple of times a week is actually most beneficial. At least 3 times is the recommended. And with this, you take up some salts, put that into your bathtub, and take a bath for about 20 minutes minimum. That is really, really calming to your nervous system. Now, last but not least is your practice number 3. And I just want to say these are the 3 that I'm recommending, but I'm sure if you do your own independent research, you'll find way more that might be more suitable to you if you don't like the ones that I'm recommending here. But definitely these are easy ones that you can kind of do. Now, while I say easy, number 3 is really going to be one that I think people have a very hard time um, as an adult, really getting comfortable with. But if you do this one, this can really go a long way. And your practice number 3 really has to do with engaging in activities that protect your inner child. This is simply because, very often what we call nervous system regulation, it's simply giving the inner child what it didn't receive, safety, possibly gentleness, permission to really enjoy life. So if you make that shift now, things like playing, art, practicing, joys, getting joy out of simple things in life. This could be watching a good movie, coloring, playing music. Some people love to play the guitar or possibly the piano, things you really don't make time for in your daily routine. But if you start introducing that now into your life, that could really shift up your energy, that could really relax you, that could really change up, your nervous system from going from a dysregulated state to a more regulated state. And so really inner child oriented activities are focused around, and this is what you want to think about as you're picking what you're doing, is trying to find creative time for play without worrying about outcomes, practicing creativity without looking at, judgment or being judged by others, and having some pleasure without feeling guilty. So all of these things are so important in order to help you calm your nervous system. So just remember, receiving is not something you need to earn. It's just about making your nervous system feel safe so that it can allow you to receive those manifestations and those things that you were, desiring. As the safety in your body is going to increase, the resistance will end up dissolving. And as relaxation deepens, because this can take a little bit of time depending on, how dysregulated your nervous system really is. And so the more you practice this and maybe do it as, multiple different practices, the easier it'll become. But your desires will find a way to start to move towards you naturally. Thank you so much for listening. God bless.